I have a lot to go over. It's kind of a long story, but I have to keep it brief because we're short on time. And I do have some numbers to flash, not as big as some of the numbers Matt put up there, but I have some numbers as well. But before I do that, just to show of hands, who has a favorite team in sports? It could be any sport, whatever it is. There's got to be more people than that. All right. Now think about your favorite team for a second. All right, on the count of three, I want everybody to yell out their favorite team. All right? 1, 2, 3. Wildcat fan there. All right, so I want you guys to keep that in your back pocket until the end of the presentation, but remember this for a little bit. So I'm Brian Rogers. You guys have known me as the newsletter guy for the better part of the last year and a half. Hopefully by the end of this presentation, you guys will refer to me and my team as something else, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. So let's take a look back at the last year as the newsletter team and what we were able to accomplish and kind of taking a look at a year in review. Fox Sports Daily has been the name of our newsletter platform since we launched. It's general sports and team-specific newsletters we send out every day. We send out 225 newsletters every day, and we sent out 106 million of them in 2014. The people that put those newsletters together are our team of curators. Most of them work remotely across the country. Each is responsible for a division within a sport or a conference at the college level. And their job is to aggregate content, at least it had been in the past, to aggregate content for these newsletters and find content that is both Fox content and third-party content. And we'll get to that in a few minutes as well. But I think this is a pretty good success story for us here on the subscription growth. That was one of the big goals we had going into this last year. And we were able to raise that number by 176%. So good job by everybody involved in that. We now reach 316 uniques, and each person has signed up for 2.6 newsletters really on average. So as you guys thought about your favorite teams, there were probably 2 or 3 that popped into your head and you chose one when I asked you to say it. But most people have a lot of favorite teams. And then, just to quickly run through click-through rates and open rates, we're at or above industry standards across the board. I won't bore you with the numbers there. But our welcome campaign has done really well. That's that transactional message that goes out when you sign up for the newsletter that includes Fox content. And we see a 16% click-through rate, which is really about 10% better than the industry standard. And then 43% on the open rate, which is about 10% better than, 25%, sorry, better than the industry standard. So really good stuff looking at the last year on the newsletter side of things. But let's talk about the challenges we had as a group. One of the big challenges was engagement. As you look at the graph here on the right, the blue represents Fox content that we included in the newsletters. The red represents third-party content. Now this is the overall number. The graph on the right represents the team-only stuff. So as you can tell here, we're giving away 75% of that content in those newsletters to third parties with direct clicks, while we're retaining some overall. So about 2/3 of our stuff we're keeping and 1/3 we're giving away. We only pushed about 2.3 million referrals back to foxsports.com in 2014, so not a very significant number. So I think the big problem there is that we had a dearth of content at the team level. We had some good regional content, we had some good Yardbarker content, but not nearly the scale that we needed. So the challenge for us was to produce more team-relevant content. And on the newsletter production side, it was a very cumbersome manual process that was prone to error. So we really needed to find a way to improve production in that workflow. So our solutions. In fact, it's really a solution rather than solutions here, and it was Publish This, a company that we found that provides a platform where you can aggregate, curate, and publish from one place. We were working through multiple platforms in many places and a lot of, again, cutting and pasting and a lot of that in the process. So we did some integration with our CMS and also with our email service provider CMS, where we produce those newsletters. And we created a single platform where we can discover, curate, publish, promote, and program that content. So we basically created a full circle of production here, which ended up turning out really well for us. But the byproduct of this was the ability to take those third-party articles and turn them into what we call stub articles. And the stub articles are rewritten third-party articles with a hat tip back to the originating source. So as you could see, that third-party content becomes Fox Sports content, which is beneficial, as we'll see on the next slide. And I just wanted to show you guys the curation tool we have on the right. I could take any of you guys through the demo, or somebody from my team can take you through it who's probably better at doing that than I am. And let's look at the results now. So I have another graph up here on the right which shows the growth of Fox Sports content in our newsletters and the reduction of third-party content in the newsletters. We had multiple wins here, so we created 5 times the efficiency in the ability to get our newsletters out by using this Publish This tool. And we've already seen less third-party content. We created a 24% shift since the start of the calendar year. So especially in the last couple of months, as you can see, it really took off. And that's about the point where we did the integration with Publish This. So we improved the workflow, which is great, but we also produced more content. We increased the output, we increased the scale, and it's beyond just stub content. It's also original content, it's photo galleries, it's list galleries, it's a lot of team relevant content beyond just stubs, but it also helps fill up that bucket. And all this content is timely, it's team targeted, it's buzzworthy, and we've accomplished that goal here of producing more team content with this tool. But we have some bonus results as well, and by the way, I found a real cheap way to get my favorite team in here. And where's Panda? Is Panda here? There he is, another Raider fan. Tony, there's Tony, another Raider fan. Anybody else in here?
All you got.
I think so. Oh, by the way, if you guys want to bash me, whatever, I'll give you 2 seconds to do that. Go ahead.
Go Niners.
Cool. All right. So more team relevant content. And the bonus here was that by creating more content, given the relevancy engine and the way the CMS works through tags, all this content is now not just flowing to newsletters and improving more Fox content there, but it's improving the experience on the team pages, more team relevant content. It's improving the app experience as well. More team relevant content pushed to social. And then finally, search has been really big for us as well because as you can see in the bottom here, and this kind of shows our output, it does not include July. I think we're over 10,000 articles over the last 2.5 months, 3 months. But search has been big for us because a lot of the content sits on team pages and isn't promoted at the level that we want, which we're going to be working on. But we've done pretty well here in growth of output, search visits, social visits, and then overall traffic. So if we look at the graph a couple graphs ago, where we're pushing 2.3 million referrals back to foxsports.com in 2014, over the last 3 months, we've pushed 6 million referrals back to foxsports.com through all these different platforms and outlets. So the team has actually done a lot more than just newsletters, as I referred to earlier. So Devin talked about this yesterday a little bit and teed up the multi-platform team-centric ecosystem that is Fanhood. We're basically going to take everything we've done, as Devin said, and rebrand it as Fanhood, everything team-related across all these different platforms. So we touch all the different keys that we talked about. This is mobile, this is for social. It includes video if you talk about it at the team level. At the Buzzer provides, in some cases, some good team-relevant content. Our deal with Straightcast provides really good team content. And then the RSNs are now concentrating more on developing video content. This works out on the relevancy side, on the personalization side, works really well with the Fanhood team up in San Francisco and what they're building technologically. And then speaks to community as well. So I think this multi-platform team-centric ecosystem is really playing to all the things that we need to play to. So proud to kind of see how this has developed over the course of the last year. So what's next? Talked about branding and redesign. We're going to be redesigning the app, or hopefully redesigning the team pages to some extent, and we're redesigning the newsletters and preparing for this. Scale and impact are going to be very important for us as we head into the fall when all these sports align. It's kind of a dead time right now in the middle of the summer, but as we get NFL and college football and NBA and the end of Major League Baseball season and all these other sports all colliding, there's no reason why we couldn't put out 10,000 articles a month. But impact is very important. What are we doing with those articles? What type of an impact are they making? We need to do a better job of promoting via social, find other opportunities to get our content out there, improve on SEO value as well. So there's a lot of things we can do. And looking at metrics, all of our curators across the country that are producing this content are constantly looking at metrics to make sure that they're keeping up, whether it's the headlines they're writing in the newsletters, it's the content they're producing, it's the way they're packaging content, what have you. Everybody is paying close attention to those numbers so that we can grow at a rapid rate. Growing distribution points, we heard a little bit about push notifications. I think that's going to be a big area for us moving forward in the apps. We talked about Facebook Notify. So there's going to be more emerging and growing distribution points for our team to work on beyond the newsletters as we started with and all these other platforms we've talked about here. Dynamic content within the newsletters and making them more contextual. We want to make sure that we're adding game times and game information, weather, shop assets, and tickets and all those other things in the newsletter. Stuff that probably should have been there for a long time, but they're not there at this point. More development with Publish This. We've done a pretty good job in phasing everything together. There are a couple things that are going to go into place in the next month, adding inlines through Publish This, and a new way to customize our URL fields in our content for SEO value. Obviously, we've been lockstep with Zach Pearson team, and I think we're rather than looking at us as a farm system like we used to about a year ago, I think this team is starting to blend together now with the overall editorial team, and both sides see value there. And finally, I want to touch on monetization. I'm probably not the best person to speak to this, but I know there's some salespeople in the room. I'm guessing that this multi-platform, team-centric opportunity could be a good opportunity to sell. So I think if you build it, they will come, right? So we're basically building it now. And then finally, I hope I'm not taking too much time. I want to introduce my team to everybody because you guys have seen these people around the office a little bit. You're not sure what they are other than the newsletter team. But I want you guys to refer to us as the Fanhood team moving forward. We're the Fanhood team. We're the Fanhood content team. So you can still refer to us as the newsletter team. We do touch a newsletter platform, but that's only part of what we do. So I want to just do a quick introduction with time. Richard Calhoun, who's not here right now. There he is. He's got more hair than he does in this picture. He's going to be growing that out. Danny Savitsky, who is not here right now, is on the editorial side as well. Denise Charles, I hope I'm not putting other people down, but she's been the MVP across the board. Analytics, strategy, everything. She does everything for a lot of people. Skooma, whoops, I think you guys all know Skooma, slapping the bass here. He's on our team now. Barry Werner, he didn't want his picture up here, but he's up here. And let me just point out, Barry is the new editorial director for Fanhood. And we couldn't be happier to have Barry on the team. He gets along with everybody here on staff. We love his creativity. He's going to be a great shepherd for these young curators that we have on our team. And then rounding out the rest of the group, Jovan Buha, who is not here. You guys have seen him around. He's really tall. Davis Coleus is here in the back of the room. Davis comes from a Fox Sports U program we did at DePaul. He just started with us about a month ago. And then Brian Kalabrowski as well joins the editorial team from the University of Oregon, Keith. So anyway, I hope you guys will start referring to us as the Fanhood team. You recognize that we're doing more at a larger scale, and we're going to grow this into this multi-platform, team-centric ecosystem that hopefully we can sell. And I encourage you guys to enjoy this stuff. You have favorite teams. You told me you have favorite teams. Go check out the team pages. They've improved in the last 2 months. Go download the Fanhood app. It's improved. And tell us ways that we can improve, okay? You guys are fans of these teams. We want to get better, all right? I think that is everything that I wanted to cover today, so I will pass it on to Keith.